Seems like I used to enjoy sitting on the porch with my grandpa, swinging on the porch swing, enjoying a Pepsi under
Yep,
the
having a
haint
Pepsi.
blue ceiling.
I wonder if he painted it or if he moved in with it like that.
Oh, I'm sure he painted it. It was an old house.
Yeah, but did he keep the same color or
Don't
did
know.
he or did he actually know that you needed to do that to keep away the spirits?
Do not know.
Be interesting to see if he knew.
It would be. But he gone.
Get out the Ouija board. Find out. We just need a yes or no.
Yeah, true.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg,
Hey, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast presents Wicked Ramblings, an entertainment podcast that strives to answer the twisted questions currently burning a bright hole in your dark soul.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
Fantastic. How are you, Greg?
I'm okay. What question is burning a bright hole in your dark soul today, Karen?
Should I introduce our special guests?
I think we already did.
Yeah, we're doing this one together.
So, what topic are we covering, Karen?
We're going to talk about superstitions.
Superstitions.
Do you not want to know what the definition of a superstition is?
I would love to know the definition of a superstition.
I thought you might. A superstition is any belief or practice considered by non practitioners to be irrational or supernatural, attributed to fate or magic, perceived supernatural influence, or fear of that which is unknown. According to that definition, I would have a lot of superstitions. I have a lot of fear of what is unknown.
Yeah, I do too. I have some of them in irrational fears too. So,
Some of them very irrational ones.
yep.
So basically, what we've done is we've each found 5 superstitions that we want to talk about. Correct?
Yes. This was kind of your idea. So, what, any reason you came up with this for a topic, Karen? Any special reason?
Not really, but some of the ones that I have on here are things like the first one I'm going to start with. My kid had put his shoes on the table. And I said, don't put your shoes on the table. That's bad luck. Only because my maternal grandmother, my Nana, used to say that. And I never asked her why. I just took my shoes off the table.
Yeah, I sometimes start to put my shoes on my bed, like pick them up and put them on the bed. And I'm like, no, I better not. I guess that's the same kind of thing.
Maybe. But I mean, it could have just been my grandmother didn't want her shoes on the table because who would? I mean, it's not exactly sanitary, but there is a superstition that goes along with it.
Yeah, I believe I've heard shoes on the bed too.
But there's just
Yes.
weird things that we say and do in our lives that we don't really know why. And I thought it would be interesting to look into a little bit. We're not going real in depth here or anything, but it's interesting to see why these things exist.
Let's start with
Why
the shoes, Karen, since you seem to have an infatuation with shoes anyway.
I do. So it's no surprise, is it, that I would pick one about shoes?
No, it's not.
Plus, I do miss my Nana.
Don't we all?
Yep. The superstition is keep your new shoe. Well, it says new shoes, but keep your new shoes off the table. But my grandmother would reprimand us anytime we put any shoes on the table, which again could have been purely for sanitary reasons, but she did say it was bad luck. So in Britain, it's considered bad luck to put your shoes on the table because it's supposed to symbolize the death of a loved one. So back in the day, placing someone's shoes on the table was a way to let their family know that they had passed away.
Just doing a quick Google search is what I found says, don't put shoes on the table. It's bad luck and is symbolic of hanging, which makes a lot of sense to me.
I'm getting there.
Okay. Sorry, Karen.
So leaving shoes on the table is a harbinger of death. This originates from the practice of honoring fatalities in the mining industry. When a poor miner lost his life down in the pits, his family would leave his boots on the table as a tribute. And a different origin story is, it's also claimed that the bad luck comes from convicts swinging from the hangman's noose. Convicts wore shoes when they were executed, and at the end, when the rope was cut, the toes of their boots would scrape the wooden platform of the gallows. This was associated with the top of a table. But shoes on the table not only invite death, as if that isn't bad enough, some people believe they affect future prosperity and marriage prospects, and invite a fight into the house or bring a storm of thunder and lightning. And in theatrical circles, shoes on the table can cause an actor to stutter on stage. Oh, the horror. But hygiene could be a more practical reason behind this superstition.
Yeah. I also found it says, don't give your partner shoes as a gift. It will encourage them to walk out of the relationship.
Well, I buy my own shoes. So, I hear it in my head anytime I see shoes on a table, and I do take them off immediately because I can hear her in my head say, don't put your shoes on the table. It's bad luck.
Yes. Yeah, the thing I found says, never put shoes on the bed. It will bring about a death in your family.
Well, good thing you don't do that then.
Yeah. I may have a time or two.
With someone specific in mind?
No.
Oh, okay.
I never really even knew that that's why. I just, like you, I always hear it in my head. Someone has told me, probably my mom or something, or one of my aunts, probably my aunt. Now that I think
do you have one of those aunts?
I do. I did. I had a couple.
My Nana was a Polish woman, so she had lots of superstitions. So there you go. No shoes on the table. Rule number 1.
Also, it says if shoes are left crossed on the floor or put on the wrong feet, or, it brings bad luck too. If your right shoe's not on the right side and your left shoe's not on the left side.
Oh, not on your feet, just on the floor.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking
that's what it means.
You'd kind of notice that, right?
Yeah.
So yes, I always bring it back to shoes. But speaking of gallows, don't you have one about gallows that you want to bring up?
Do I? Might you be referring to walking under a ladder, Karen?
I thought that was such a cool segue I did there. And you didn't follow me.
No, I didn't.
No, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything about gallows, about the ladder.
That's what I thought it partly had to do with.
No, Karen, it does not. The superstition of walking under a ladder has its origins in ancient Egypt, Karen, as the Egyptians regarded the shape of the triangle as sacred, thus the pyramids. And since leaning a ladder forms a triangle, walking under one was considered to bring misfortune, Karen.
Wait, because why? Because it was a sacred symbol, and then you disrupted the symbol by walking through it.
Yeah. Supposedly, the space was the home of both good and bad spirits.
Oh, okay.
And if disturbed, the spirits could get angry, which is why it was forbidden to walk under a ladder.
So ancient Egypt.
Yes. But some people believe that since a ladder was rested against the crucifix, I guess the cross that Christ was hung from, if you believe in such things, it is considered to symbolize wickedness and death.
Ah. But if you walk under it, all that just jumps on your back?
Yeah, I guess. And of course, there is the practical reasons, Karen. It's not very safe to walk under a ladder, especially if there's someone working on one above you, right? They could drop something and hit you in the head and you be gone.
True.
So supposedly you can change your luck, though, if you do happen to walk under a ladder.
Do you walk backwards?
One remedy, Karen, is to keep your fingers crossed until you see a dog.
Oh, well, that wouldn't take me long.
Or you can walk backwards under the ladder again.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Well.
And take another route. Yes. I have a feeling a lot of these are going to have practical.
Well, not all of
reasons
mine do.
No, mine do not either. Mine do not either. Probably this is the only one of mine that do. Well, maybe not. A lot of mine seem to come from Egypt for some reason, though, I think.
Really?
Yep. Which is interesting.
All right. Do you want to know how I've wished death upon people without meaning to?
As opposed to the other times.
Well, yeah, there are times that I've probably meant to, but apparently inadvertently, I've wished death upon people and ill fortune.
Oh, do tell.
Have you ever toasted with water?
I have not, Karen, I don't think.
That doesn't surprise me. But as a designated driver, I often will be drinking water and participate in toasts with water. So making a toast is always considered to be a wish you are making to the gods, offering them up your drink as you raise your glass. Celebrating with a glass filled with water, a dull and neutral drink, was not appreciated by the gods, who would shower down ill fortune on anyone who dared to do so. So this is from Greek mythology. The belief that you should never make a toast with water in your glass harks back to a time of the ancient Greeks. This is a superstition with its place firmly embedded in history. According to Greek mythology, the dead would always drink from the river Lethe in the depths of the underworld in order to forget their past corporal lives. As a result of this story, the Greeks would always toast to the dead with glasses filled with water to symbolize their voyage via the river to the underworld. So if you're toasting with water, you're toasting to the dead. As a consequence of this morbid story, it is considered that proposing a toast to someone with water is akin to wishing bad luck and maybe even death on him or her.
On the person you're toasting?
Yes.
So if I took my glass of ice water,
many people also
raised it up to you, I would be wishing.
Well, if you toasted to me. But listen, before you do that, many people also believe that by toasting with water, you were also wishing death upon yourself, as this liquid reflects your future watery grave. So
watery grave.
Well, they're talking about Greek mythology, and you're going along the river.
Okay, got it.
So it's actually better to toast with an empty glass than to toast with water.
Yes, my mother was not a drinker. She never had a taste of alcohol in her life, and she would always at weddings hold her little champagne glass with champagne in it. Mm-hmm. She would take the champagne and they make the toast, and she would just put it up to her lips and put it back down, and she went and drink it.
I wonder if that's bad too. Is that a pretend toast?
I don't know. She wasn't giving it, but she was participating, right?
Yeah. So don't toast with water. Or if someone is toasting you with a glass of water, be very suspicious. But you don't want to do it haphazardly because you might be wishing death upon yourself.
It's true.
So I apologize to everyone
with water at some point
I've ever raised a glass of water to. And you're holding a glass of water, so don't you dare do it to me. I see it in your eyeballs. You're thinking about it. I can see the wheels turning. Is it going to be her or is it going to be me? So what's your next one?
Well, one thing that I do, Karen, I tried to pick superstitions that I kind of
we're familiar with.
Like walking under a ladder. As I'm walking and I'm about to walk under a ladder, I stop. No.
Oh, so you actually kind of believe in it.
Well.
Plus, you don't want the paint can to knock your noggin.
Correct. Another thing I do pretty religiously, Karen, is if I'm walking and I find a penny. And it's not heads up, it's tails up, I'll just walk right on by it. I will not pick it up. But if it's heads up, I will pick it up.
Is that for any coin or only pennies?
Pretty much any coin.
See, as a kid, you heard that saying, find a penny, pick it up, and all the day you'll have good luck. It had no specific heads or tails on it. So where does the heads over tails come from?
Well, just that pennies were good luck. In general, people originally thought pennies would bring good luck because of religious beliefs, Karen. Folklore from ancient civilizations said that metals like copper were gifts from the gods, intended to protect them from evil.
Okay.
Another reason people might have claimed pennies to bring good luck comes down from the battle between good and evil, which is like two sides of a coin, Karen.
Ah, interesting.
Finding a penny heads up meant you'd have luck on your side. But tails up would mean the opposite, although the exact reasoning for this is unknown. But if you believe, good and evil, two sides of the coin, it kind of makes sense. I have kicked a coin or two, though, before I picked it up.
To change it?
Yes.
As a kid or later? Or both?
Both. You know how I walk, I have my little walking path at work.
Mm-hmm.
We've discussed. I must have walked past this penny in our
nobody will pick it up.
Every time I walk past it, it's tails up. And it's for months and months. I walked past this penny daily.
Well, so did everybody else, right?
Well, no one else is walking, I don't think.
Oh, no one else is out there? Well, but still, you don't know. They're just not out there. I think
someone would get out of their car and look down and say, "Ooh, a penny," and pick it up. But no, it sat there. Then one day it was gone. But it was there for a long time.
Someone's going to have some bad luck. Yeah, I didn't know the heads versus tails thing until I was an adult. So God knows how many pennies I picked up. No wonder. This explains an awful lot to me right now.
Yeah, that wasn't made clear when we were kids.
I think that was it's a conspiracy.
Yep. I just found the whole quote.
What did you find?
What's the old saying, Karen? You just said it a little bit ago.
Find a penny, pick it up. All the day you'll have good luck.
All right. Do you know the next verse?
No, I do not.
According to the interwebs, the next verse is, see a penny, let it lie. All day long, you'll have to cry.
Oh, but that's just still if you walk past it like you did.
Yeah. And it says you'll have good luck if you pick up a coin and it's head side up, bad luck if it's tails. Doesn't really say why.
But that's not in the rhyme.
I know.
So we're still being misled.
True. Do you know you could slip coins under the welcome mat to keep bad luck from visiting you? Heads
up.
Didn't say. And there's something about placing a coin in the four corners of a room. I have heard of that.
No, I don't.
It's supposed to bring you wealth and good fortune, Karen.
Damn it. I need to start doing that.
Russians believe that scattering coins all over your house will bring wealth. So when we get our pennies, we can roll around in them and we'll have good luck as well.
We'll throw them all over the house. We'll just throw them in the air. That will be awesome.
I think you mentioned the things about when we were watching, what was the movie we did? The Wicker Man, right? With the coins over the eyes. You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's
didn't you explain that? Yeah.
That's for your passage on the river Styx.
Right.
That's to pay Charon, Charon, I think is his name. But I'm not 100% sure. That's from the delves of memory. But that's to pay your passage. Yes. So speaking of bad luck.
Yes.
I'm sure that you've heard. You can have 7 years of bad luck from breaking a mirror.
Yes. I have heard that, Karen. I have actually done that, Karen.
Broken a mirror or had 7 years bad luck?
Broken a mirror.
Well, it's fascinating that this myth started with the Romans, and they believed that the soul would regenerate every 7 years. So essentially, when you break a mirror, you're waiting for an entire new soul to rid yourself of the bad luck. So it kind of plays into, it's interesting that they chose 7 years because it's kind of a factoid that the average age of all the cells in your body is 7 to 10 years. So some of your cells regenerate, obviously, and some don't. But it's interesting that the Romans picked 7 years for your soul.
What about those brain cells, Karen? Do brain cells regenerate after you kill them?
No, they do not.
No. Bummer.
But the Romans picked 7 years to regenerate your soul. And a lot of people will throw around the factoid that it takes 7 to 10 years to regenerate your entire body, have all new cells, which is not exactly true.
Yeah, if you killed all your cells at once, that'd be pretty bad. That'd be bad.
But You have 30 trillion human cells that are replaced regularly, and about 330 billion of those cells are replaced every day, which is amazing to me. I just got distracted by that. I thought, well, that's super cool. But many superstitious people say breaking a mirror sets you up for 7 years of bad luck, and that's because 7 years is the time it takes to replace all the cells in your physical body, which is not true. But you are regenerating cells at all times, and the average age of those cells is 7 to 10 years. So it's fact adjacent. It's not exactly right, but it's fascinating to me that the Romans pulled that number out for your soul when it kind of does correlate to your body. But if you'd like to know how to end the chain of bad luck early,
I would, Karen.
Would you?
Yes.
Take the broken mirror outside and bury it in the moonlight. And just another thing that they believed is that mirrors were devices of the gods. Breaking a mirror would anger the gods, who would then torment the person whose last reflection it held. So if you break it, or if you see it crack it, hold it up to someone else.
Yes, I believe I broke one as a child. I believe it involved a hairbrush being used as a microphone or something to some probably loud rock
child?
music.
So what were you singing, your ABCs?
Yes, Karen. That's what I was doing. I might have even been using the brush as a drumstick. I don't know, but I whacked the mirror with it.
You threw it to the crowd, and that was the end of that. That's nice. Nice training. Well, you've far outgrown that bad luck. You can't blame it on that mirror anymore.
True that.
So 7 years, or bury it in the moonlight.
Yeah, there are quite a few superstitions about mirrors. Actually, I saw one about never place two mirrors opposite one another.
I saw that too, because it opens a portal for the devil. How many of those do you have in your house, Greg? Did you run up to your hallway and start putting mirrors across from each other?
I did not.
Yet.
But every time my wife opens or even anyone opens the medicine cabinet in my wife's bathroom, a mirror reflects on another mirror.
Ooh.
Every time, Karen.
You might want to tell her that.
I will.
To cover up that medicine cabinet mirror if she doesn't use it. Or that could be why she's married to you, because you came through that portal. Is that how you go home, Greg?
Let's change the subject, Karen.
Should we? Okay. If you must. No comment from Greg. Moving on. Move along. Nothing to see here.
Well, no. Speaking of the devil, Karen.
Oh. Let's continue, shall we? With your...
Yes. Now, bear with me, Karen. Do you know what...
I always do.
Hexakosioihexekontahexaphobia is?
Wow. 3 hexes in there.
There are 3 hexes. That's a big clue, Karen.
I don't know what that is, Greg. What is it?
That is fear of the number 666.
Really? It's an actual documented phobia?
It is an actual phobia, Karen.
Do you know how many people have that phobia? Can't be that common.
I do not, Karen. I do not. But of course, it all comes from the number 666, which is, used to signify the devil, the Antichrist, or evil in general, Karen.
And why is that?
Well,
did somebody make up that number, or is it?
Well, there's a passage in the Bible, Karen.
Oh, is there now?
The book of Revelations. Yes. In the King James version of the New Testament, Revelations 13:18, Karen.
Ah.
Here is wisdom.
Now I remember.
That hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, which I guess is 666.
Three
scores. Score is 20 years, I think.
Yeah.
And,
it's 60. Yes. Okay, yes. Gotcha.
The idea of the number of a man or beast may refer, Karen, to the practice of Jewish numerology, where every letter of the Hebrew alphabet corresponds to a number. For example, Aleph is 1, Bet is 2, etc.
Oh, so they just put in like ours would be A is 1, B is 2.
And words and names correspond to the sum of these numbers, right? So if you wrote your name would be and have a number associated with it based upon, the letter of the alphabet that your name is.
So you add the letters.
Yes.
Okay.
A leading theory is that 666 actually stands for Nero Caesar, who was
crazy.
Who was the dude at the time. Early Christians, they say, or theorize that early Christians could have marked him as the beast and thus used the 666, meaning his name, his number.
Okay.
But regardless, it came to stand for evil over the centuries, of course. Some Christians, for example, Karen, go out of their way to avoid the number. We were giving out work cell phones at work, Karen. And a bunch of them, you know how it's like area code, 3 digits, 4 digits.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of them had 666 as the 3 digit after the area code. And there were quite a few people who refused to take those numbers.
Did you take all of them?
No, I did not.
But we should mention that I do drag Greg to our hometown church festival where we have Beers for Jesus.
We do.
And he does play the big 6-wheel. And you want to tell the people?
Well, why is it called the big 6-wheel, Karen? What are you supposed
dice.
What? Yeah, but
because it's dice related for those of you who aren't familiar. So they spin a big wheel and it has all these different
it only makes sense to me, Karen. Big 6-wheel. What are you going to do?
Of dice. And Greg stands there with his quarters. And what do you play every single time? 3 quarters on number
6.
There you go. And he keeps winning all the time.
I win.
Too.
I win quite a bit.
Yes, he does.
And I say, let it roll. But it's also good luck, Karen, in some instances. For example, Chinese gamers, it's good luck.
I can imagine many numbers in different cultures are good luck. I bet 13's lucky in some cultures.
Yes. And we could go into, rock bands and whatever. Number of the Beast, Bruce Dickinson, Deep Purple's listed. One of their songs is 6 minutes and 66 seconds long. Whatever.
But those are all good things.
And actually, did you know that Ronald and Nancy Reagan retired to 666 St. Cloud Road in Bel Air, California?
No comment.
But they had the house number officially changed to 668. And in 2003, Karen, U.S. Highway 666 was renamed to U.S. 491.
Ah.
After decades of complaints, according to the Albuquerque Journal.
Okay.
Apparently there was lots of accidents. You know how stories go.
There's lots of accidents on every highway.
Yeah, it was supposed to be proven to be statistically dangerous. In 1986, researchers found that 23% of all crashes involving injury that occurred in this specific district were on a 0.9 mile stretch of Highway 666.
Sounds like a horror movie needs to be made about that.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
This is in New Mexico, actually.
New Mexico, okay.
Mm-hmm. Albuquerque. I wonder if you did statistical research on accidents now, if they would be the same or different.
Yeah, I wonder if it's all fixed now.
Yeah, because skeptics believe that it was due to the road being improperly designed or maintained for increasing traffic loads, with the western expansion and whatnot, I guess. Interesting. Hexakosioihexekontahexaphobia.
They do come up with some very simple terms for these phobias, don't they?
Yes.
So I don't know how much you've traveled around, but...
Well, define traveled.
Have you ever passed by a southern home with a front porch clearly visible and noticed the ceiling painted blue?
Yes.
Do you know why they do that?
I do not.
The blue is no ordinary blue.
I think my grandfather's house was like that.
For over 300 years, Southerners have been painting their porch ceiling haint blue out of tradition and superstition. So
what was it called?
Haint blue.
Haint?
Haint. I noticed it in New Orleans and I thought it was really cool. And I looked it up to see why there were so many. Some of them have clouds and things on them, but a haint is a shape shifting, skin shedding, witch like spirit. And they're believed to be capable of stealing a victim's energy, sometimes suffocating or even drowning their unlucky prey. But they do have one weakness: they're afraid of water.
Mm.
So you don't want to have a haint visit your home, obviously. So the blue of the water scares them, and they tend to stay away from anything that looks like water and is colored as such. It's from the Gullah people, Gullah. It's from Africa, descendants of Africa. Decided to keep haints out of their home. They would paint their porch ceilings blue. The haints who are then floating above a home would see the color on the porch ceiling and keep away from that house, protecting the family inside from haunting haints and their destructive tendencies. It's a specific color blue. So it scares away these spirits. They're not kind spirits.
Interesting. Haint blue. Sherwin-Williams has a whole card of haint blue, Karen.
There's more than one.
Apparently. The best haint blue paint colors.
I would totally do it, but I was vetoed. I think it's pretty. And, what harm does it do to keep haints out of your house?
Sherwin-Williams has like waterscape, rain,
but is
constellation.
There? So this is a category. There's not one actually called
blues.
Haint.
No, there's waterscape, lookout point, woodlawn blue, light blue from different manufacturers. That's what they're calling it. The color chart I'm looking at.
Oh, so I guess naming
Dayflower,
Haint blue might not be great.
Sea salt, Ewing blue, yeah, EWING. Tropical mist, skylight view, blue haze, and blue lace. Haint blues. Some of them are more green than blue to me, but whatever.
Well, as long as it looks like water. Could be pond water, could be river water.
Wandering spirits. That's what the word haint translates to, apparently. Interesting.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it is cool. Like I said, it seems like I used to enjoy sitting on the porch with my grandpa, swinging on the porch swing, enjoying a Pepsi under the haint blue ceiling.
I wonder if he painted it or if he moved in with it like that.
Oh, I'm sure he painted it. It was an old house.
Yeah, but did he keep the same color, or did he actually know that you needed to do that to keep away the spirits?
Do not know. He was a Southern Baptist elder.
I don't know if do they believe in spirits?
I don't know, Karen. They preach
so
about fire and
brimstones
a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know. Be interesting to see if he knew.
Yeah, it would be. But he gone.
Get out the Ouija board. Find out. We just need a yes or no.
Yeah, true. Suppose I could ask my uncle. He may know.
He would know if he kept painting it blue, right?
Yeah. It was a superstition. I'll bet he knows it.
Could have been your grandma, though, too. She could have said, paint the porch blue. And he would have, right?
Could have. Yeah, it's true. And, my memory's not what it used to be. It could have been white for all I remember, all I know. But
ask your uncle.
It seems familiar to me. Just seeing, maybe it's just because I've seen lots of them. I don't know.
The only place I really saw them, like I said, where I noticed it was New Orleans. And then in Georgia, after I'd seen them and kind of knew what they were about a little bit.
Well, when I looked up the word haint, what I found was Charleston, South Carolina, Karen. It was the first thing that came up, though. And the Gullah people, right? Is that what you said?
I said Gullah, but I'm not 100% sure. Could be either.
Yep.
So if anyone knows, please let me know.
info@scaryspirits.com. Karen, are you one to open your umbrella indoors?
I have opened umbrellas indoors under very specific circumstances.
Oh?
It's actually a very good way to make a dog's ears perk up.
Ah. Okay.
So if you have them ready to be photographed and you've done the squeakies and you've done the meowing and all, and they're bored and they're done with it, if you open an umbrella quickly and close it a couple times, it works every time. So what have I brought on to myself with
Well,
that?
once again, umbrellas were first designed by the Egyptians. Did you know that,
Oh,
Karen?
I did not, but the Egyptians were very cool people, so I'm not surprised.
And they were mainly used by nobility. Then they made their way to China, where once again, they were used by royalty.
Someone else carrying it, I assume.
Probably. But the superstition about opening umbrellas and doors can be traced back to ancient Egyptian era, when Egypt worshipped the sun god.
Ra.
Correct? It is believed that the act of opening an umbrella indoors would displease Ra.
Why?
And so this was avoided at all cost. Don't know why. Superstition also has roots in the circumstances surrounding the umbrella in England during the 18th century. At that time, umbrellas were not as light and easy to operate. They were rigid, Karen, with hard metal spokes, and were much heavier than they are today. Thus, opening an umbrella inside where others were likely to come to harm was actually dangerous. Once again,
you have your practical
reason. Yeah, the idea of opening an umbrella indoors progressed from a mere warning to a superstitious belief. Another superstition, Karen, is that merely opening an umbrella indoors can't cause bad luck unless it is black.
Which most umbrellas were at one point.
I'm sure. Yes. But good to know about the dogs, Karen. Doesn't say that you're just displeasing Ra. That's all you're doing, apparently.
Maybe Ra would be like, it's okay. She's trying to make a buck.
Another fairly universal superstition is that opening an umbrella indoors before you head outside will cause bad luck to rain down upon you, Karen.
Great. Does it count if you open it I guess you can't really open it in the car, but when you're getting out of the car and you kind of open it first.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I can stick it out the door of my car.
Yeah. But I guess that's
kind of weird about even opening it in the garage.
Really?
Yes.
Did your mom or dad used to say it or something? Where does it come from?
No.
Like what makes that one stick in your head?
Open an umbrella is unlucky. Don't know. Probably an aunt again, Karen. I was raised by one of my aunts, more or less. They lived with us and kind of my nanny.
You were probably running around being obnoxious and they were like, stop it. That's bad luck, just to get you to stop doing stuff.
Well, I remember my mother when I was like in kindergarten getting an umbrella for Christmas, and it was clear plastic.
Oh, the best kind.
And it was like a dome.
Yep.
Right? So you could like sit inside your little umbrella and look and see around. And I have a feeling I probably played with it quite a bit indoors, and my aunt was probably not pleased. That's probably where I heard it.
Those were great.
They were.
Yeah, I remember those. Even going outside and just sitting under it as the rain came down you wanted it to rain when you had that cool umbrella.
Yeah.
All right, I got one more. Are you ready?
Okay.
Do you know why after you sneeze, someone says, bless you?
I've heard this before, Karen.
Okay, well.
But I cannot remember.
If anyone out there has not heard it before, the most popular theory is that it originated in Rome when the bubonic plague was ravaging Europe. Sneezing was one of the plague's main symptoms, and it is believed that Pope Gregory I suggested a tiny prayer in the form of saying, God bless you, after a sneeze would protect the person from death. Another superstitious theory is that it stems from the ancient belief that a sneeze might accidentally expel the spirit from the body unless God blesses you and prevents it. Other cultures thought that sneezing forced evil spirits out of the body, leaving others exposed to a wandering spirit. A blessing was to protect both the sneezers and those around him. And then there's the rumor that our hearts stop when we sneeze, and that saying bless you is a way of welcoming the sneezer back from the dead. That's my favorite. It's just considered a polite gesture. And if it happens to protect our souls, what's the harm?
Have you ever heard that it's bad luck to sneeze just once?
Oh, well, I'm in trouble, but you're not.
I am not.
You sneeze about 1,000 times in a row.
I do. How would you know that, Karen?
I've seen it.
Yeah, apparently in India, it's bad luck to sneeze only once. So you should always try to force a second one.
How do you even do that?
I have no idea. I don't have that problem, Karen. I usually sneeze about 5 times.
My kids are multiple sneezers, but I am not. But I sneeze like an 80-year-old man. Do one big sneeze where it sounds like my dad will yell from the other room, "Get the mop." But yeah, so we have the bubonic plague probably to thank for that one, or evil spirits, neither of which I would
Always those
particularly
evil
want.
spirits, those pesky evil spirits, always raising their faces.
To do their evilness any chance they get.
Do you know a good way that you might be able to get rid of evil spirits, Karen?
Stop hanging out with you.
That's possible. Although I did find the sage and the smudgers and stuff the other day. So
Excellent.
no, Karen,
That's not the only way.
that is not.
What's another way?
Apparently, maybe knocking on wood.
Oh, I've done that. Okay.
Have you said knock on wood?
Yes.
Yeah, so in many cultures, it's common superstition for people to knock their knuckles on a piece of wood to bring themselves good fortune or ward off bad luck.
Okay. You've done it, I assume.
Absolutely.
Okay. Why do we do that?
There seems to be little agreement in how it originated, Karen.
Uh-oh.
One common explanation traces the phenomenon to ancient pagan cultures, such as the Celts, who believed that spirits and gods resided in trees.
Okay.
Knocking on tree trunks may have served to rouse the spirits and call on their protection, but it could have also been a way of showing gratitude for a stroke of good luck. Another theory is that people knocked on wood to chase away evil spirits or prevent them from listening in when they boasted about their luck, thereby preventing a reversal of fortune. Those silly Christians, meanwhile, have often linked the practice to the wood of the cross from Christ's crucifixion.
But why would you want to knock on that?
I don't know. And also other researchers have said that it could trace its practice back to a 19th century children's game called Tiggy Touchwood.
That sounds dirty, but what is it?
Yeah, I like that. Tiggy
Don't
Touchwood. I'm going to say, let's play some Tiggy Touchwood.
Is that the old-fashioned Netflix and chill?
But basically, that's a type of tag game in which
Okay.
players were immune from being caught whenever they touched a piece of wood, such as a door or a tree. Thus, the wood was like giving them protection in the game.
Oh, okay. So like base.
Yes, it was well known to adults as well as children. No one knows for sure. Actually, Turkish people, Karen, often pull on one earlobe and knock on wood twice to ward off a jinx. Knock on wood. I just did it yesterday, last night, as a matter of fact.
Do you remember why?
Oh, I was talking about what good luck we've been having with our vehicles.
Oh, you said that out loud?
I did.
Oh. Risky.
Well, I had to take a car to the dealership today, Karen.
So knocking on wood didn't work?
Well, it was already busted.
Oh,
I just happened to mention last night that, and I was just thinking how lucky we've been with our vehicles. Personally, I was telling this to you better knock on wood right now. So I did.
Okay, interesting. So what's your favorite? Would you
My
say
favorite?
of the ones we talked about?
I don't know. I kind of like the paint blue paint.
Yeah, me too. I think that's my favorite.
And of course, I love, Hexakosioihexekontahexaphobia.
Well, yeah. I mean, who doesn't?
Fascinated by that shit for sure.
It's interesting to see where the superstitions originate. There's always a nugget of something somewhere that gets someone going. And then it's just fascinating to see which ones last. And I'm sure there are thousands and thousands, but there are some that are just so common that almost everyone knows them. And you don't even know why. Like opening the umbrella inside. You don't even know I mean, I remember my mom saying it to
Well,
me,
I assumed lots of these had practical reasons, right? And that's why we're
but they
told them.
stuck
Yeah.
even after the practical
You're going to
reasons.
poke someone's eye out.
Yes, exactly. Especially as a kid.
I imagine watching the old Batman serial. I probably opened an umbrella quite a bit indoors,
Exactly, right?
being the penguin or somebody.
Right. Spraying the laughing gas or whatever he would. Well, that's more the Joker, but
Yeah. And I think Batman had a bat umbrella, which was like bulletproof.
well, yeah.
He could walk towards somebody shooting him with his umbrella out.
But if they really do have, some of them have origins in pagan cultures or Roman or ancient Egypt, why do certain ones stick and others don't? And you're right. It's probably because they have practical applications, or the haint blue is a pretty blue. If it was like a puke yellow, maybe people wouldn't keep doing it, or black or something, that wasn't attractive. But the blue is very pretty on the porch.
I have found a site that has 60 common superstitions. A lot of them. Did you wear a lot of bells on your wedding day, Karen?
I did not.
Apparently that's bad luck.
Don't you think it would warn the evil spirits away, though, with all we've learned about Krampus and the bells?
Yeah, that's why they wear them.
Oh, I thought you said it was bad luck.
It's bad off not to, which
Oh,
you did.
I see. Okay.
Do you know that it's good luck to step in dog poop with your left foot?
I'm sure I've done that, but I've probably for sure stepped in dog poop on my right foot too. So
yes, correct.
I bet I know there's like, if a bird poops on you, that's supposed to be good luck. I've heard that, but I don't know the origin of it. But I have heard that before.
I have too.
I think that's just to make you feel better if you got pooped on.
It's kind of like being struck by lightning, right? What are the odds? You're so lucky.
You're not usually lucky, though, if that happens.
I know. So many fascinating superstitions, Karen.
So if anyone out there has a favorite that we didn't cover or you'd like to educate us about, just let us know at info@scaryspirits.com. I'd be interested to find out if anyone has any cultural ones that they do, even if you don't know why you do it. I mean, we have a Polish tradition. You always set an extra plate at Christmas dinner, an empty spot for Christ. And my grandmother would always tell us the story about how, they always did it. And a dog showed up at the door and they said, well, we can't turn him away because we don't know. So they fed the dog on the plate that they had set specifically in case someone shows up. It's a representation of Christ showing up at your dinner. So they fed the dog.
Is that kind of like Dracula making sure that the castle was always ready for visitors?
Yeah, it's very similar, Greg. But it's just a cultural tradition that we've done that, obviously it's religious, but I never questioned it. We just always did it. Or Greg also knows that we share wafers around this time of year, and we say out loud 3 wishes for each person holding the wafer, and you go around and you do it with your whole family. I don't know why it's 3 wishes. I don't know why we do it, but we always have, and we continue to. I don't know if it's superstition or it's tradition or it's a little of both.
Yeah, some people believe that bad things happen in 3s, which is interesting, especially with 3 wishes.
Yeah, but good things happen in 3s also.
Yeah.
So, in a lot of
it is a
cultures.
magic number, Karen.
It is.
3, it's a magic number.
But yeah, if you have any superstitious / traditions that you can enlighten us with, we'd love to hear them.
Absolutely. Email us at info@scaryspirits.com.
And we'll send you some Scary Spirit stickers just for doing it.
Yes, we will. Some of them are reflective, though, so don't make them
put them across from each other. So all those fun house mirrors, those house of mirrors, are portals for the devil.
What about when, like, department stores, like when you go to changing rooms? Remember they used to have like 3 mirrors? I guess they're not really facing each other though, but so you could get a good look. You could turn around and see yourself. Remember that, Karen?
I don't turn around and look
at McAlpin's.
Shillitoes.
Yep. But like I said, they're not really facing each other.
No, but the funhouse mirrors were,
Mm-hmm.
because that was the whole, well, not the funhouse mirrors, but like the house of mirrors where you were trying to get out and you kept bumping into the mirrors and stuff. They're all facing each other.
Yep.
They're in movies all the time, those devil portals.
True, Karen. Very true.
So, dear listener, you've learned a lot today.
I hope so. Or maybe you've learned nothing. I learned
Well,
something.
Maybe they knew it already, you mean?
Yeah. Maybe
Or they
they're
don't.
very superstitious and they knew all these things.
One of my favorite commercials before we go, I will say, was a commercial. It was during football season a couple years back, and they're all watching football. I think it's Peyton Manning's in the basement. Remember that? And something's happening and they yell at it. And he comes upstairs and the team starts losing and they all scream at him to go back in the basement. Get back in the basement. So
Yeah.
whenever a team is losing that I want to win here, I'll yell at my kid, get back in the basement.
Yeah.
Or that my dad said, we were at a UC football game, a Cincinnati football game, and they were about to score on the 1 yard line. And my dad says, this is a perfect place for them to fumble at the game. And of course they did fumble.
I guess he didn't knock on wood, did he, Karen?
And so whenever we watch a game, we were watching a Buffalo game and they fumbled and we all went, Grandpa. Curses them.
Anything else, Karen?
Do you want to tell everyone our social media, Greg? So they can follow us?
Yeah, just look us up. Scary Spirits Podcast on all the social medias.
We're even on TikTok.
We are.
We're almost to 500 at this point on Instagram. We keep going down a few, up a few, down a few. They won't give me the 500. So hopefully by the time you hear this, we'll have crossed that big line.
I make the cocktails every week on the YouTube channel. We usually have cocktails if this is your first time listening.
When we do movie reviews, we do.
Yes.
We do Wicked Ramblings. We just like to talk about things that we find interesting and we think that you might find interesting too.
Hopefully.
Yeah, let us know. info@scaryspirits.com.
Well, thank you for joining us for Wicked Ramblings. Remember, we are not experts, and this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Anything else, Karen?
Keep your shoes off the table and please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits Podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.